Hello everyone, welcome back to the Pokemon Trading Card Game 2018 Stuttgart TCG Regional Championships. I'm Nicholas Pearson. I'm here with someone who I've not commentated with in far too long. How are you doing, David?
Yeah, definitely. I'm really tired. I hope the tech side is all working, and even though I would still be able to commentate in a fair manner. However, now we are round 2. The first round had a lot of overtime, so we are trying to hurry. We told them, if you can play, just play. But unfortunately, here we see a mulligan. We have Adam Hawkins against Magnus. Kalland. The score is not updated yet. Pretty sure they're both 1-0-0. Won their first round. Adam is playing Glaceon, Barbaracle, and Magnus is playing Zoroark with X. Very similar list to what we've already seen. This time it's not a mirror match.
No, it's not.
So hopefully this is a bit more exciting. But still very problematic, I think.
Yeah. I was going to say overtime is very appropriate. This man works tirelessly, folks. I don't think he gets enough credit for how much he puts into helping everyone this run. All this tech setup is basically mostly him with and Lydia as well, to be fair, with me and Connor just kind of not doing much of anything. But well, no, actually that's not entirely fair. But yeah,
alright, so now you can see something which is a little bit problematic. So the players don't put their own prize cards. We have some problems with there. So they have to wait for the judge to put the prize cards for them. So just that you understand, but if that's finished, then we can just do it. I'm very sorry about this, but
yeah, and also I think they're doing that now, so yeah, it's all good.
Alright, so we can start the game then. Didn't see who goes first. Usually players put the die on the active Pokemon of the player who goes first. Yeah,
but there's the handshake. We are off, ladies and gentlemen. So it looks like Magnus will be going first.
Yeah, and we are seeing directly a Roadblock Sudowoodo, which is like the counter card against Zoroark, really limiting the damage output, especially if you have Skyfield in the format. Then your normal bench space is 8, but out of all of a sudden it gets cut in half. And then Zoroark doesn't get the incredible numbers. Yeah, we have to switch the scene really quick.
Yeah, because the Sudowoodo, the lower number always takes the priority. That's the way it's that's the way it ends up being ruled. So yeah, even though you may have Skyfield out, it doesn't matter. The lower number takes priority.
Yeah, and also especially the first turn, sometimes these Zoroark decks can go really deep into the deck. They can play Bridget and then go for Shaman EX, draw more cards with Ultra Ball. They can discard as much as they want, and Exeggcute from Plasma Freeze is an amazing card, and it always allows you to get the maximum value out of your Ultra Ball. You usually don't have to discard resources that you want to keep, so that's quite nice. And you will see Magnus actually doing exactly this. He got a Bell Compressor in the first turn, able to get all of his Exeggcutes actually in the discard pile, with the one from his hand as well. Yeah,
Magnus is especially able to do this with his list, because his list is very aggressive. It plays 3 Shaman, quite a few they might play 2, for example, but Magnus could go for a very deep turn 1 if it weren't for the fact that he's roadblocked by Sudowoodo.
Yeah, and also he ends his turn with an Hex Maniac, which is the go-to card to have in your first turn. But other than that, it doesn't really look that great, to be honest. Since he had an Ultra Ball, he didn't go for Shaman, he didn't go for Tapu Lele. He played an Hex Maniac, so his hand is probably fine. Also, if you see, your hand is okay, and he can work with 2 Zoroarks in the next turn. Playing the Hex Maniac usually prevents the opponent from playing an N as well, because they can't use Ultra Ball for Tapu Lele. So they can use Ultra Ball for Tapu Lele, but afterwards they cannot use the ability to get a supporter.
Yeah, and from Adam's side there, he managed to get a couple of Pokemon out. He's off of Cynthia, is able to find an EV and double colours as well, so able to get that set up. But it's very important, I think, to just talk about his deck here, because his deck's very interesting. As you mentioned earlier, David, it is indeed this Glaceon Barbaracle deck. Now, there's been quite a few different Glaceon variants which have popped up in expanded, just because, of course, that ability, able to, when it's in the active, being able to stop your opponent from using the abilities of both EX and GX Pokemon is extremely, extremely strong, especially given the prevalence of Zoroark GX and Tapu Lele GX. But it hasn't always been figured out the best way to play it yet, and it seems that in the standard format, Glaceon hasn't really been considered strong enough to actually take off. But in expanded, there's been quite a few people playing it to decent success recently, and Adam is now taking that concept further.
Yeah, in expanded especially, you have so much more support cards, and because of that much support, single decks get so strong. So you have the Zoroark deck, which is considered the deck to beat at the moment, and because you have so many cards, you can always draw. You only play 4 double colors energy cards because you don't really need anything else. And because of this, Barbaracle gains a lot more strength. You need to be. The problem with Barbaracle is you need to have your stadium in field.
Yeah, it can't be
if it's the opponent's one, and that's why in the past and for a long time in the standard format, Barbaracle didn't work because your opponent could just play stadium card, then attach, take 2 prize cards. If they play 3 stadiums, or if you just don't get your Barbaracle fast enough, you usually lose. However, at the moment, Zoroark decks, they can trade so much. They don't need that many supporter cards, and like I already mentioned, the expanded deck has so much support that they play pretty much a perfect list, would just have everything you need, as much as you really need it. So they need trade a lot, and that's why with Glaceon you can just block this trade ability and also blocking the cards they draw. So it's really likely for them that they just can't get the stadium, and then you attack twice, you take 2 prize cards, so as long as you can get enough time, it still works. So this is why it's a legit deck in expanded at the moment.
Yeah, and it seems that from Magnus's side right now, he's got the KO on the Sudowoodo from the Zoroark, so he's able to find enough of that, and now it's going to be up to Adam that all he really needs here is a Water Energy and a Glaceon to start doing his thing, and it looks like he's got the Water Energy, and in fact, of course, there's that will trigger the ability, which would mean that he's already found Glaceon as well. So yeah, now the Glaceon is active, that ability means that the Magnus will not have access to trade unless he's able to get that Glaceon out of the active somehow.
Yeah, and that the energy evolution is amazing. You just need an energy card, and it's basically like an Ultra Ball as well, which makes the deck just that little bit more consistent. It also gives you the option, if you go first, you can use it to evolve. So sometimes you win the coin flip, you start Eevee, you just need a Water Energy card, and depending on your opponent's hand, that just wins you the game right there. We saw in the round number 1, second game, it's basically like a turn 1 Hexmaniac in a way.
Yeah, it is.
Of course, it doesn't block stuff like propagation, but that's not the important ability you want to have in your turn 1. You want to use your setup, you want to use your Wonder Tag, and then later in the game you want to use trade. None of this is possible now.
No, and Adam's had an even stronger turn because he actually was able to find a enhanced hammer to discard the double colors energy off of Magnus's Zoroark. Of course, Magnus was just able to find another double colors and do it again, but that's one double color's gone. It's starting to burn through Adam's resources.
And now Magnus showing us how to do it in this matchup. You play Skyfield. You can still use Exeggcute, so getting your bench full again shouldn't be that difficult, and then try to get the one-hit knockout.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get it, like we saw in the first round, in the first turn, Enhanced Hammer, if there is Barbaracle in play, that gets even harder. So Magnus is really digging for his choice band here, and of course another bench Pokemon.
Yeah, he's got another bench Pokemon because he has a Shaman in his hand. He has an Ultra Ball too, but I don't see the choice band unless there's one in his discard pile.
Oh, he has 2 puzzles in his hand, and there is a Computer Search, and he has a Battle Compressor as well.
I don't think he has Computer Search, but obviously the Battle
Compressor.
Yeah,
he has Computer Search in the discard pile.
Oh, okay.
So he could do it, but Battle Compressor, of course, gives you the same. So this is like a really weird combination of cards. Yeah. You play Battle Compressor, and then you can play 2 Puzzle of Time. So if Magnus wants to go for the knockout here, he just has to discard a choice band, and then he can grab it, and then he still needs to think about what to do with the second card you grab with your Puzzle of Time. If he had played a single Puzzle of Time, he could just take that one, but it's a bit harder if you only want one card, and don't really know what the second card is, you really need the value out of it.
Yeah.
You can't just grab a random card or just probably just grabbing the computer search might also not be the best play in all situations. But currently, he needs to think about what will be the best future card to get.
Yeah,
and it seems like he goes for the double colors energy.
Yeah, and this makes sense because you want to make sure that you have enough energy resources to see your way through the whole game, and you want to be attaching as much as possible, especially doing so whilst Adam's Barbaracle isn't out, just as a make it incredibly clear for any of you who might not be sure. So the Barbaracle does have that ability, which, as David already mentioned, only kicks in when you have your own stadium card in play, and when you do. It's well, you can see it there on the left. It stops your opponent from being able to play any special energy cards from his or her hand and attach them to his or her Pokemon. So really, really strong against Zoroark, as David's already mentioned, because these Zoroark decks only tend to play 4 double colorless energy as their entire energy line, and so you can just lock them out of attaching energy entirely. Also, really strong against Night March for the same reason.
Yeah. But now Adam needs to get a lot of cards in his turn, and we saw he played N, which is fine because it gets rid of the double colors energy card from Magnus, which Adam knew was in his hand. But now he needs an energy card and a double colors energy card. Otherwise, it will probably be very easy for Magnus to just take a knockout here. So the Enhanced Hammer is probably the most important card, followed by the energy. We see he does have the energy. Doesn't seem like he also got the Enhanced Hammer. So. Yeah. Magnus can actually just attack, take the knockout. So retreating into Glaceon seems like a really problematic thing to do. In this turn especially, having the Barbaracle active also not the best spot. So now Adam has to make a big decision here. I'm really curious about how he actually decides. Yeah, but we will see this later. Whatever he puts active will probably get knocked out. We see he put a Tapu Lele active. He had the choice between either the Tapu Lele or the Glaceon, because if he puts the both of them will get knocked out anyways. Right. If he puts the Glaceon active, he limits the opponent's trade. Now Magnus can get trade, maybe get rid of some cards he doesn't need in the future, so Adam's ends get a lot weaker, and he has a higher chance of drawing Stadium and Double Colors Energy card, and Magnus can prepare just his deck, so that's kind of the downside there. But on the other hand, I don't know exactly how many Glaceon Adam has left. There is one in play, one of the prize cards, which we can see, and then also one which got already knocked out. Yeah. And he plays 3 in his deck, so if he puts that active, he would have lost all his Glaceons, and that of course is not something he wants.
Yeah. I think the really big problem from Adam's side as well is that he wasn't able to find the Sudowoodo. Of course, with that roadblock ability, would have been able to cut Magnus's bench size down and would have been able to stop him from getting a knockout. But
but I actually see in the deck list now, so the Sudowoodo got knocked out. That was the first Pokemon.
Yeah, of course it was.
And he doesn't have any way to get it back, as far as I'm concerned.
He has a Super Rod.
He has one. Okay, he has one Super Rod, so he would need the Super Rod. Also, he would need it in the future as well if he went for that Glaceon play, like already said. So. Now you can see why he has to put the Tapu Lele active, even though, of course, the Glaceon would be the ideal. Why he just can't. He already needs a lot of cards, and he can't also add. I need a Super Rod as well. On top of that.
Yeah, and I need to see the Super Rod before I see my card, which gets me like the Sudowoodo or whatever else, and but he's gonna need to see it sooner rather than later, because I think. As we know, Magnus is going to take a knockout here. So Adam's win condition is basically get rid of all of Magnus's energy, play Barbaracle and hope it sticks.
Yes, exactly. And also you saw Magnus used a Field Blower now, which is a Field Blower he didn't use for Stadium, which means now he's a bit less, he's a bit more vulnerable to Barbaracle. But Magnus is trying everything in his power to make. We see he tries. Adam to not have anything, and he played the Jetsis for 2 VS Seeker and Ultra Ball. The only card left is Lusamine, but Lusamine doesn't win you anything. So now everything is on this top card of the deck from Adam. Otherwise it's 1-0 for Magnus, which is of course really likely. So for Magnus that was an amazing mid-game Getsis.
Absolutely brutal.
Yes. That's the only adjective to use here, I think. Or on Adam's side, very sad.
Yeah. Sadly though, only it's one card off of another slot on our bingo, because it wasn't for the entire hand, it was for the entire hand except for one card.
Okay, so now we see the knockout, Glaceon goes active, Adam sees his card,
and
it's nothing to draw more, and he knows, I end my turn, that's it. And yeah, so that was game 1.
Yeah.
Not very exciting, to be fair. To be honest, it was kind of very quickly. You went into this. Oh, now Adam needs to draw so many cards. Magnus' turn wasn't even like his turn 1. Wasn't even that crazy.
No.
He had 2 Zoroarks and Hexmaniac. The Hexmaniac, of course, prevented Adam from using Energy Evolution, which was fine, which was nice in this situation. But it wasn't like crazy.
Yeah.
Didn't get so much. But of course, that Battle Compressor double colorless play. A double puzzle play,
Yeah.
I mean. That was amazing, but you draw so many cards, it's so likely to get your combo going somehow. And yeah, this just shows how strong Battle Compressor is. It not just can it maybe just get your eggs into your hand, because for Exeggcute it's a special card. You can just grab them with the Battle Compressor, basically. For other cards, just I don't need this in the matchup anymore. Go away. But if you have 2 Puzzle of Times in your hand, you can use it as an extra consistency card, just to like a super computer search.
Yeah, search your deck or
combo.
something. Yeah.
Exactly. And this is what Magnus showed here. I really hope we see a more interesting game 2. The Glaceon Barbaracle deck is quite interesting on multiple levels, I believe. It's a lock deck. I'm a fan of lock decks. So I want him.
I have some experience with that.
I want him to do well.
Yeah.
And actually,
Yeah.
I'll just go there.
No.
Is there someone?
Okay. Yeah. I think they've. They're all good. They've. So I've been abandoned. Connor, quick, hop in. No. Okay, Zach, we're good.
Yeah. So Adam goes first, and if he gets the water energy, this would be a great turn 1.
It would.
There is none in his hand right now. He plays Professor Juniper.
Yeah.
And he has a computer search, so at least he will
energy.
definitely get it if he wants to.
Also, that's another one of your bingo sheets, folks. Someone playing Juniper instead of Sycamore.
Oh.
Well,
yeah, I'm a fan of Professor Sycamore.
I do like both. I think I like Juniper a little bit more.
The problem with Juniper is if you get used to saying Juniper all the time, then you will also say it in Standard. But if you always say Sycamore, it's always correct one.
Yeah, I guess so. By the way, again, once again, a reminder, folks, if you guys want to follow along with our expanded bingo sheet at home, I have tweeted it out. That's our Twitter handle is at Xanatu-NP. That's XANATUNP. You can cross along and follow along at home and see if you can tick off all the likely expanded happenings over the course of the day. Yeah. There's no prizes if you get a bingo, though. Sorry, because everyone has the same sheet.
Yeah, so everyone has to watch the whole. Like, if you missed round 2, that puts you in a big disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
There are so many things that happened here.
I guess that's true as well. Yeah, you get more advantage the more you watch. So basically, we're just telling people.
Watch all of it.
Yeah.
Don't turn off.
No.
All right. So Adam's turn 1 was really strong. He got the energy. He did discard a double colors energy card, and he uses computer search quite early. So now in the later turns he will have some problems. But of course, freezing gaze in the first turn is just too strong to not have it.
Yeah.
So
just the option.
Still fine.
Just the option to have that for from the Zoroark player side is why this card became really weirdly hard to get very quickly when people realize, oh, hold on, I want to play Zoroark and Expanded, and this is actually the best thing to do for it. Actually, something else I'd like to call out on, which is something that we feel that we didn't call out before. Adam's actually priced 3 water energy, so considering he plays 8, so obviously he still has 5 less, so that's fine. But it's actually quite good for him that he was able to find that computer search because without it, he might have actually missed a turn on Glaceon, which is
soul crushing.
Yeah.
I would say. If you go first, you start Eevee, and you're like, okay, I have quite a nice chance. The other hand cards, okay, it's nothing there, but I have a Juniper.
Yeah.
And then you go for it. Going back to Magnus' turn, he got to not the perfect one. He had to play Battle Compressor and then Rescue Stretcher for Zoroark, which is like it's similar to the other situation we had earlier. But then he was forced to play Chorus for 4. Nothing great here.
Oh, this
and
is.
He does get the double colors energy card. Now a lot of pressure on Magnus. I think he has an Ultra Ball in his hand, so he can evolve, but that doesn't really get him anywhere.
No, and as we know, of course, Glaceon, not only does it have that amazing freezing gaze ability, but of course the Frost Bullet attack, high Night Spear, 90 damage to the active 32 a bench Pokemon means that those Exeggcutes are such easy slim pickings for the Glaceon deck.
If you really want to take prize cards, you can do it.
Yeah.
But of course, I think Glaceon Barbaracle is a deck which wants to play N for the best value as long as possible. So it's usually like all the other Pokemon will probably get damage instead of Exeggcute. Also, they're kind of useless.
Yeah.
You don't want to use Blockade in this matchup.
No.
It's only 10 damage, then your double cast energy card is gone. You have an Exeggcute active, which you can't retreat.
At the same time, just the fact that you can pretty much guarantee, if I announce an attack, I will take a prize with residual damage. That's just kind of insanely strong. And look at that, a rough siege from Adam as well. That's going to be really rough for Magnus.
Yes.
And this is the point where I get kicked off the commentary team.
All right, so no Enhanced Hammer for Adam, which would have been perfect. He also doesn't have a Binacle yet. I think he had a supporter in his hand, but also a double colors energy card and a water energy, so he didn't want to get rid of all of his resources. The Wrath Seize prevents Magnus from getting the knockout, of course, a little bit further. Healing 30 is kind of like, forcing me to get 2 extra bench Pokemon because the HP on Glaceon is even.
It just does go to show you though just how brutal the Freezing Gaze ability is for against the Zoroark player, because look at Magnus's say right now. I mean, against any other deck, this ball set would be absolutely fine. He could set some more things to get on, but because he has no Wonder Tag, he has no trade, his hand isn't even that bad, but he's just stuck doing not much of anything.
Yeah, exactly. He just had an Ultra Ball, and in most situations he would grab a Shaman or maybe Tapu Lele, but here he can just get a Zorua and then wait. He can attack, and he will probably be attacking next turn, so he can draw prize cards, which is really nice. But for Adam, he can attach an energy now on the bench, then somehow get a Binacle, and the game is running for him. It's really good.
Not only that, but because Adam did his first Frost Split, he did 30 to the Zora. The math works out really nicely. Nicely rather, because it's the 30 plus 90 plus 90 is 210, which is an exact knockout. So he's positioned the math perfectly here to just keep taking knockout after knockout on both the Zoroarks and residual damage on the Exeggcutes.
Yeah, exactly. And usually you would need the choice band somewhere if you attack on an undamaged Zoroark. It's 90 twice, so 180 plus 30. That's exactly perfect. Now Adam actually plays the Professor Juniper, also gets a Floatstone, so even worse, denying Magnus this easy 2 prize cards, which is also like 2 drawn cards, and Magnus realizes, I don't want to play anymore. No. Let's go to game 3. This time, Magnus will actually be able to go first, so he can go first. Doesn't take the risk of getting blocked from this Glaceon GX, so he will definitely be able to go for Ultra Ball Tapu Lele, grab a Bridget, a lot more value definitely, but I mean, game 1 was kind of sad to watch because Adam just got run over, and now Magnus just sat there and was like, please don't knock me out, but nothing worked. So now game 3 might be a bit more exciting, as long as Adam doesn't draw really bad. And Magnus gets his turn 1, then we will see hopefully an interesting game with some Barbaracle.
It is.
The Barbaracle didn't do anything yet, right?
No, nothing at all. It wasn't even necessary. It's just.
He's just straight Glaceon with few Enhanced Hammers is enough to win. So.
I think the biggest problem for Magnus is that his list isn't as, in some senses, it doesn't feel as prepared against a counter deck like Adam's, because I mean he still has the 3 Colress, but he's only got 1 Bridget, for example. He's so much more ability reliant. Even instead, he plays 3 Shamans as well. So the Glaceon is just that extra little bit tougher to deal with for Magnus's build specifically, which is why it hurt him so much in that game, and why Adam getting the turn 1 Glaceon rather just completely blew Magnus out the water.
Especially after Costa Mesa, I think. Especially after Costa Mesa, I think you need a bit better matchup against Glaceon. I think going into Costa Mesa, it was a deck which wasn't really expected to be played. I was like, whoa, Barbaracle is back, wow. I tested that when it was really bad, and I was sad that it's not good.
Yeah.
But now it's good.
Yeah.
So everything great.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a bit weird that you go into the tournament, you play Zoroark, but you need to expect to face maybe 2 Glaceons probably.
Yeah.
And if you don't have an out, then that's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's like sucks to be you. So as you said, David, Magnus will be going first this time, so it's gonna be good for him at least. And he will be able to do something. He's starting with a Battle Compressor too, so that's already a pretty strong start from him. He'll be able to put some Battle Compressor. You'd be able to put some eggs in discard pile straight away, and he will be able to put his sort of ideal sort of supporter. Could even consider going for a turn 1 Getsus if he feels like that's the strongest way to stop Adam from doing much. At the same time, oh no, he actually already has the Getsus in his hand, so he doesn't even need to compressor that away. Maybe he might be thinking about just going for the free Exeggcutes. That's kind of looks like what he's deciding on right now.
Yeah, a turn 1 Getsus is really good, but in this deck, in this situation, probably not the best way. You know, if the opponent has a water energy card, then you can play Getsus, look at your opponent's hand, and they're like, here's a water energy. But then you're kind of screwed, because you didn't draw cards, you didn't go further, you didn't set about the board state.
So you play the Getsus, your opponent shows you your hand, there's a water energy in it, and here's my hand.
Yeah, exactly. He does have the Getsus, and he actually plays it. So maybe he doesn't have a supporter card.
And there's water energy.
The water energy, a supporter card. Magnus draws 1. His hand has to be really, really slim, or plays the red card.
Okay.
But he just drew the red card off the Getsus.
Oh my god. Okay.
So yeah, his hand is really bad.
Oh, that was so risky then.
No, it wasn't risky. Like, he could have chorus for 1, or played Getsus. That was his options, right?
Did he not have? Oh no, he doesn't have a Versiger, does he? Okay,
he doesn't have anything. He has a field blower, double sky field.
Okay, so no, so it wasn't risky.
Zoroark.
So no, it wasn't risky at all. Sorry, yeah, no, his hand was just that terrible.
Yeah.
Good grief.
And also, he played the Battle Compressor first, because that thins out your deck first. So if you play Getsus for 1, the least card you want to draw is Exeggcute.
Yes.
And he also discarded the Bridget, because that makes his outs better.
Mm-hmm.
So if he would have drawn a Verse Seeker there, he could have used it for Bridget in the next turn. And now we see if Adam is actually able to get the energy evolution that he doesn't.
Oh, quick draw!
And he quick draws for 1. I haven't seen that at all yet.
No. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so now Magnus didn't get anything. He did get a single puzzle, so he can look at the top 3 cards, and maybe there is something there. But he also has a Getsus in his hand, so he can propagate, put it on the bench, and then Getsus for 4, which should be fair, I think.
Yeah, I mean chorus.
A chorus, yes.
Yeah.
So chorus for 4, not too bad. Place the Skyfield first.
Yeah.
Usually you wouldn't want to waste your Skyfields in a situation like that, but now Magnus needs to maximize his chances in terms of supporter cards, Ultra Balls, Versus Seekers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So here he kind of has to play the Skyfield early.
It's also funny how he went from a game where one player drew badly to a game where the other player didn't have a game to now
and
both.
Now both. Or neither, you could say. And his new hand is just as bad. He has a double colorless. But
he has 2 double colorless, actually.
Exeggcute can't attack for a double colorless.
No.
Otherwise we would see a quick draw. Actually, Adam has the advantage because he has quick draw, so he can draw a little bit better. Always.
He has a Glaceon in his hand as well, so if he just sees a water energy, this game is actually over.
It's pretty much over then. And even if he doesn't have the water energy, that takes out so many options for Magnus. It takes out every trait he might have ever had. It takes out Shaman. It takes out it basically takes out the Ultra Ball top deck. Yeah. And then because he plays 3 Shaman, 2 Layla, that's 9 cards, which just become not consistency cards anymore, even though they're usually consistency cards. Yeah. So it looks like Adam will probably win this, but if he draws a lot worse, then yeah.
There's an Oranguru as well. Yeah, there's the Glaceon. There's the Oranguru.
There's a Floatstone, and can Oranguru for 1. He has a Guzma.
Yeah, may as well.
He can just retreat, but this way he draws 1 more card off the Oranguru.
Yep.
You got a Professor Juniper, which he can't play now, but next turn, of course. No water energy, but yeah, like we already said, that would just be the icing on top of the cake.
Yeah, Magnus did get a Versus Seeker. This is actually one thing that he has going for him compared to the game where he was drawing kind of badly last time, is that he's played a Chorus now, so all of his Versus Seekers are out to draw at least. Even if it's not drawing a huge amount, he can still do something.
Yeah, and now he unfortunately has to go for Chorus again. It's only Chorus for 5. Not the best thing.
No, it's really not. Sorry. Then there's Chorus for 5 with no Shaman and no Zoroark. Even if he had Zoras to evolve, the Glaceon means that they're not doing anything. Oh dear.
Alright, so 5 new cards. If there's anything, he might continue playing. But
there's Shaman, but you know.
Well, yeah, you can play it and then let it on the bench.
I think
he has a Pokemon communication, so he can actually get a Zoroark.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's what he's gonna do.
But even if he has a Zoroark, it will get 30 damage probably next turn.
Yeah,
and then that's it. He discards a Guzma with his Battle Compressor, which is quite nice because then he has the option to play Guzma on Binnacle or maybe Barbaracle in the future, while also getting rid of the Freezing Gaze, and then he could trade. So that's why you can set up the Guzma now, which makes all of his Earthseeker Guzma as well. Seems like he's also going for Hexmaniac. Unfortunately, you can't turn off Freezing Gaze with Hexmaniac. Well, you can, but then it doesn't really give you the advantage of a turned off Freezing Gaze because everything else doesn't work.
I've turned on your ability, which turns off my abilities.
Yes, it's like using Hexmaniac to get rid of Garbotoxin. You do get rid of it, but not in the way you wanted to. And here we see, like said, Pokemon communication for Zorua. Not the best thing to happen in this situation, but definitely the only way for him to stay in the play.
There's there's actually an expression for English of this. Doing that would be a bit like cutting your nose off to spite your face. Have you heard of that one?
I've not heard of it.
No.
And I don't want to imagine.
It basically means like doing something like against something, but doesn't actually benefit you. If that makes sense. It's just
fair
like
enough. All right, so here Adam, Ultra Ball, Barbaracle, kind of sealing the game. If he has a Stadium and a Water Energy card, pretty much no options left for Magnus. He can still whiff either of them. He has a Perfect Sycamore in his hand. Now he can either Instruct first and then play Juniper,
which it looks like he's gonna
the
do.
other way around. But if you do it this way, there's just a high chance. Unfortunately, you'd have to discard the Enhance Hammer.
I don't think it matters too much.
It's not that important anymore.
Especially if he sees a Rough Seas. Like if he sees a Rough Seas, my goodness.
Yeah, here's the Water Energy. No Stadium, so not the worst case scenario for Magnus. But still, like in.
Oh no, he does
have computer search. So
oh dear.
You can either go for a supporter, or just grab the Stadium. I don't think there's anything else he really wants at the moment. If he has a supporter card in his hand, then he can just grab the Rusties. He does have a Verse Seeker in his hand, so he will definitely go for the Rusties. And now he can put 30 on the Zorua again. This time, he's preparing for the Jetsters. He doesn't want to lose because of that kind of weird stuff. And it also just gives Magnus one less option. If he has the Jetsters, it's also one card drawn less for Magnus. And now here he has Skyfield Chorus, and then go for Chorus. Usually this hand would be still nice. Like if you could use abilities, you could just go for Shaman, draw 6, get extra bench space, maybe get a different supporter. But actually, of course, I forgot the propagation. So in Expanded, you always have to think, Ultra Ball just says search your deck for Pokemon.
Yes, it does.
So I'm sorry about this.
Yeah. Also, he has a replacement stadium, so he's will be able to use that to he can actually attach an energy this turn now. So that's good for him.
All right, so Chorus for 5 cards.
It's interesting is how he decided not to like bench 1 or 2 more of the Exeggcutes to do a Chorus for 6 or for 7.
Benching 1 extra Exeggcute would have probably been a benefit. I think if you put 4 on the bench, then your bench is kind of full already. But I can see the third one making sense definitely. However, here we see a Level Ball for another Zorua. I don't think Magnus got a Double Colors Energy card. Now he's checking his prize cards. How many Double Colors Energy cards are there? We know there is none. There is also nothing too exciting. A 1/1 Zoroark. well,
yeah,
yeah,
it's fine.
It's fine, but
oh, actually, something we forgot to mention at the beginning of the game. Not that it's ended up being that relevant, but Adam's roadblock Sud Widow is actually prized.
yes, true.
Yeah.
Usually this would be sad against Zoroark, because you can't block them, give that 1 extra. So you have to keep in mind, if you have roadblock in play, Zoroark only deals 100 damage. And then with Rust Seas, they can't really two-hit knockout you, so it's a really good card to have. But on the other side, if you have Barbaracle, you only need your Stadium, and then it's pretty much enough lock as well.
Yeah. Now, Magnus is ultra balling for a Shaman here. He's going to be sensible, not play it now, obviously. He's just doing it to get it out. But didn't see a double colourless, importantly. That's really unfortunate for him, especially considering he had the opportunity this turn to actually play them because he had his own Stadium out instead of Adam. So now Adam has a chance to dig for his own Stadium again and lock Magnus out of special energy again.
Yeah, exactly. I think he also plays a Delinquent, or yes. So Adam plays 1 Delinquent in his deck. If he can get that, that would be game.
Yeah, basically.
Basically. No hand cards for Magnus anymore. No Stadium in play.
No.
He does have a Tapu Lele.
Oh dear.
Delinquent is not prized, so we know he has a Professor Juniper in his hand.
I think
so,
surely that's what you got to go for at this point. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? There it is. Oh.
So Magnus' face, you can see it. It's just the face of defeat.
Adam, no mercy Hawkins, just completely relentless, and not giving even a single centimeter, not even like an inch. So a centimeter is even smaller.
All right, and now Heart of the Cards, top deck. Pass. All right, so I don't really see Magnus winning. Next, Adam just draws 3 prize cards.
Yeah.
And only executes. Or did he draw 2 prize cards?
I think he only drew 2. Yeah.
I will ask him.
Yeah. Checking that really quickly. I mean, to be honest, this game's probably not going to last much longer anyway. I mean, Magnus can do some propagations maybe, but I'm looking over at our tech support Connor right now, and I think he's pretty much in agreement.
Yeah, this game is as likely to finish from deck from bench out as it is from prize cards right now, right?
Yeah.
So.
No, it's been fixed now in any case, but it shouldn't matter too much. And yeah, they fixed it now at least. So now, but back to Magnus' turn. He does have Ultra Ball, but there's nothing he can really grab that's useful to him.
He could grab another Zorua. I think that's the only thing he can really do.
But how does he retreat into it? Because Adam could just do a Frost Bullet and win the game.
Oh.
Yeah,
so that's that. Adam Hawkins, 2-1, with his Glaceon deck. So of course Glaceon is designed to win against Zoroark.
Yeah, of course.
You block pretty much everything the deck does. You block the abilities and you block the only energy cards. But still, these games usually aren't that one-sided.
No, that was some very bad luck on Magnus's hand. Congratulations to Adam, though, who now will be moving on to 2-0. I believe we will have time for an interview with Adam because, so we're actually going to go to that right now. We'll go to a quick break whilst we just fetch Adam and bring him over here. So until a few seconds, don't go away.
Yeah, actually, the scene is not ready yet, so we have to wait a little bit.